Alrighty, folks, it is Saturday, June 17th, 2023. And following another winning day of personal sports bets on my website yesterday, I'm now 5-0 in my last $5.99 daily best plays on that very site. And the good news is I have another daily best play going off here for you today for just $1.99. You're actually going to get access for 30 days to that package if you sign up for that membership here today. And with that, let's go ahead and dive into some free content. We're going to take a look at the Tigers at the Twins, 2:10 Eastern first pitch. Minnesota's minus $1.95, totals 9. Jose De Leon for Minnesota, Joey Wentz for Detroit. Now, Wentz is just 1-6 on the year with an ERA in the 7s. And even if he does have a good outing here today, this Tiger lineup can't hit for shit. They're averaging fewer hits per 9 than any other franchise on the road besides one. Now they're facing Jose De Leon, who's looked good in limited work. The righty's got an ERA in the 3s along with 15 strikeouts in just 14 innings. Now this Minnesota pitching staff also leads the majors in strikeouts per 9. Polanco and Gordon are still out for Minnesota. Looks like Buxton should be back in the lineup. Meanwhile, Baddoo and Green are still out for Detroit. Now, oddly enough, 6 out of Detroit's last 10 meetings with Minnesota did get over the total. So if you're into historical trends, plenty of overs to go around. They're also 7-3 to the over in their last 10 this season. Meanwhile, Minnesota saw 3 out of their last 4 at Target Field get over the total themselves. Give me Minnesota minus 1.5, over 9. Next game, Orioles Cubs, 2:20 p.m. East. Chicago's minus $1.30, totals 8. Justin Steele for Chicago, Kyle Gibson for Baltimore. Now the O's continue to roll with Gibson on the bump. He's 8-3 on the season with an ERA in the 3s. Now, the O's are a top 5 run-producing team on the road. Austin Hayes, he's the team leader in batting average and hits. Meanwhile, Adley Rutschman and Anthony Santander, they have nearly 70 RBI between the both of them. Now, they're facing a Chicago lineup who strikes out an awful lot at the dish. The Cubbies are in the bottom 5 in strikeouts per 9 at the plate. And even though Justin Steele's putting up some really good numbers, these Cubby pitchers really, they don't blow anybody away. They're actually in the bottom 5 in the National League in strikeouts on the mound. Now, Edwin Rios, he is out for the Cubs. Mullins and Mountcastle inactive for Baltimore. 3 out of the O's last 4 while traveling got over. The Cubs saw their last 4 straight at Wrigley get over the total. Give me Baltimore plus $1.10, over 8. Next ball game, Marlins Nationals, 4:05 East. Miami's minus 155, totals 9.5. Braxton Garrett for the Fish, Jake Irvin for Washington. Now Irvin's got just 1 win on the season with an ERA close to 6. These national hitters also have a tough time producing runs, especially at home. They're a bottom 3 run-scoring team in their own ballpark. Now they're facing Braxton Garrett, who's got a 1.26 whip, along with 69 strikeouts. And out of 63-plus innings, the lefties recorded only 2 losses. Now at the plate, the Marlins do a nice job making contact with the baseball. They're in the top 10 in fewest strikeouts in the box. Luis Arias is the league leader in batting average. He's hitting .390. Meanwhile, Jorge Soler is 3rd in the big leagues in home runs. Chisholm and Garcia are still out for Miami. Pineda still inactive for Washington. 3 out of the Nats' last 4 at home got over. Meanwhile, Miami's 4-3 to the over in their last 7 road games. Give me the Marlins minus 155, over 9.5. Next contest, it is going to be Blue Jays Rangers, 4:07 Eastern first pitch. Texas is minus 120, totals 9.5. Dane Dunning for the Rangers. Looks like a bullpen day for the Blue Jays. And regardless of who throws out the first pitch, these Toronto pitchers, they do struggle while traveling. They're actually in the bottom 10 in hits allowed per game on the road. In addition to that, they're also facing Dane Dunning, who's actually been one of the best in the American League on the hill. He's 5-1 in the year with an ERA of 2.76. Now, Dunning also has the luxury of being backed by the best hitting lineup in baseball. Adolis Garcia is second in the big leagues in RBI. Meanwhile, Marcus Semien has the most hits on the roster. Now, Brad Miller is still out for the Rangers. Brandon Belt inactive for Toronto. The Blue Jays have seen the overcash in 22 contests away from their own building. Meanwhile, the Rangers are 25-10 to the over at Globe Life Field. Give me Texas minus $1.20, over 9.5. Next contest I have for you, it is going to be Phillies at the Athletics, 4:07 Eastern for first pitch. Philadelphia is minus 175, totals 9. Chris Sanchez for the Titans, James Caprillion for Oakland. Now, Jimmy's got 6 losses on the season with an ERA close to 7. Now, the A's also have the worst hitting lineup in baseball. They're dead last in run production and hits per game. This looks like a pretty good spot for Chris Sanchez to turn things around. He's had a rough go of things in a handful of innings with Philadelphia, although he hasn't recorded a loss, so he does have that going for him. Now, these Phil's batters, they've had little issue getting on base, especially on the road. They're actually a top 5 hit-producing team while traveling. Nick Castellanos, he leads the roster in batting average and hits. Alec Boehm's got a team-best 45 runs batted in. Now, it looks like Christian Pache, he's back and healthy again for the Titans. Kevin Smith, questionable for Oakland. 4 out of the A's last 5 at home did fall under the total. Philadelphia is 7-3 to the under in their last 10. Give me the Phillies minus 175, under 9. Next matchup, it is going to be White Sox Mariners, 4:10 Eastern start time. Seattle's minus 155, total 7.5. Logan Gilbert for Seattle, Lucas Giolito for Chicago. And even though Giolito's turned it on recently, he still has a handful of losses and he's got a real bad, batting lineup of hitters behind him. The Sox are in the bottom 5 in hits per game on the road. Now, no real surprise here, guys. They're also in the bottom 5 in OPS as well. They're facing Logan Gilbert, who's got 81 strikeouts and a 1.03 whip. The Seattle pitchers are also allowing only 7.3 hits per game at home. That's nearly an AL best in that category. Yoan Moncada, he's still out for Chicago. 5 out of the Sox last 7 road games did stay under the total. They're also 7-3 to the under in their last 10. Give me Seattle minus 155, under 7.5. Next matchup, it is going to be Reds at the Astros, 4:10 Eastern start time. Houston's minus $1.25, totals 8.5. Brandon Bielak for Houston, Hunter Green for Cincinnati. And out of 67-plus innings, Hunter Green's recorded just 1 win. He's actually got an ERA in the 4s along with a 1.34 whip. Now, these Cincy hitters are also having issues hitting for power. They're a bottom 5 home run hitting team. Now, they're facing a Houston pitching staff who does a nice job keeping the ball down. They're actually in the top 5 in the majors right now in fewest homers. Actually, I'm sorry, not the majors. They're in the top 5 in fewest homers allowed in the American League. And as far as the entire league is concerned, the Astros give up fewer runs a game than any other pitching staff in baseball. Now, Yordan Alvarez is still out for Houston. Will Myers inactive for Cincinnati. 3 out of Houston's last 4 at Minute Maid Park stayed under the total. They're also 7-3 to the under in their last 10 at any location. Give me Houston minus $1.25, under 8.5. Next matchup I have for you, it is going to be Rockies at the Braves, 4:10 Eastern first pitch. Atlanta's minus 295, totals 10 runs. Bryce Elder for Atlanta, Connor Seabold for Colorado. And as far as Connor Seabold's concerned, the Rockies just don't want to win for the guy. Out of 53-plus innings of work, the righties recorded only one win. He's also got an ERA close to 5, along with a 1.38 whip. When it comes to offensive production, the Rockies are scoring only 3.7 runs a game on the road this year. That's nearly a league worst. Now they're facing Bryce Elder, who continues to mow him down. The righty's got an ERA in the 2s, along with a 1.18 whip. And out of 77 innings of work, Elder's recorded only one loss. And even if Elder blows chunks here today, he is backed by one of the best lineup of hitters in the game. The Braves are in the top 3 in hits per contest. They're also averaging more home runs per 9 than any other lineup in the game. Ronald Acuna, he's currently the team leader in batting average in hits. And of course, Ozzie Albies, he's driving in all the runs. He's got the most RBI on the roster right now. Now, Blackmon, Crone, and Bryant are still out for Colorado. The Rockies allowed over 5.5 runs a game in their last 10 meetings with Atlanta. The Braves are 7-3 to the over in their last 10 this season. Give me the Braves minus 1.5, over 10. Next matchup, Angels, Royals, 4:10 Eastern first pitch. The LA Angels are minus $1.70, totals 10. Griffin Canning for Los Angeles, Mike Mayers for Kansas City. The Mayers has just one win on the season, along with an ERA in the 5s. He's also backed by a bottom 3 run-producing lineup of hitters. Now, the Royals are going to have to go against Griffin Canning here today, who's 5-2 on the bump and averages just about a strikeout an inning. And, of course, this Angels lineup certainly getting the job done. They definitely hit for power. They're in the top 5 in homers per game. Shohei Ohtani has 22 bombs on the year, along with an OPS in the thousands. And Mickey Moniak, wow, he's hitting .325 with an OPS in the thousands. Anthony Rendon's questionable for the Angels. Urshela and Neto are out. Meanwhile, for Kansas City, Salvi Perez is questionable with a hand injury. Los Angeles saw 4 out of their last 5 road games get over the total. They're also 63% to the over in all of their contests away from Angel Stadium. Give me the Angels minus 170, over 10. Next contest I have for you, it is going to be Pirates at the Brewers, 4:10 p.m. East. Milwaukee's minus $1.20, totals 8.5. Wade Miley for Milwaukee, Mitch Keller for Pittsburgh. Now, Keller's 8-2 on the year with an ERA in the 3s. He's also passed the century mark with regard to strikeouts. This Pittsburgh pitching staff, they've done a real nice job keeping the ball down. They're actually in the top 5 in the National League in fewest homers allowed. Of course, they're facing one of the worst hitting lineups in the game right now in Milwaukee. These guys have been pretty brutal at the plate. They're currently in the bottom 3 in hits per game at home. And they're also striking out more times a game at home than any other lineup besides one. Like I said, these guys are horrible with the bat in their hands. Now, Winker and Taylor are still out for the Brew Crew. 6 out of Milwaukee's last 10 outings did fall under the total. They're also 10-4 to the under against NL Central opponents. Give me the Pirates plus $1, under 8.5. Next contest, Cardinals, Mets, 4:10 Eastern start time. New York Mets are minus 155, totals 8.5. Kodai Senga for New York, Adam Wainwright for St. Louis. And even though Waino's been lame-o, he comes into the... Wow, who's writing this stuff? Waino comes into today's contest with only 1 loss in the season and technically a winning record. And as bad as this Cardinals pitching staff's been, they do actually pitch pretty well on the road. They're amongst the NL leaders in fewest runs allowed away from home. Now, they also do a superb job of keeping the ball down. They're currently in the top 3 in fewest home runs allowed. Now, they're facing a Mets club on the other side who's got a bottom 10 OPS lineup. And no real shock here, guys. The Mets are averaging fewer hits a game at home than any other lineup in the National League. Now, starting pitcher Kodai Senga, He comes into today's matchup with 40 walks on the year and a 1.38 whip. So even though there's some bright spots, Senga will throw pitches. He'll walk people. Now, of course, power hitter Pete Alonso, he's still out of the lineup with a wrist. O'Neill and Nootbaar still inactive for St. Louis. The Cards are 23-13 to the under when they bat first. New York's 14-5 to the under against National League opponents in Flushing, Queens. Give me St. Louis plus 1.5, under 8.5 runs. Next ballgame, Yankees, Bo Sox, 7:15 Eastern start time. Boston's minus $1.25, totals 9. Brian Bello for Boston, Clark Schmidt for New York. For some reason, I've been wanting to say New Jersey. I don't know why. New Jersey, Yankees? What the hell? Anyway, Schmidt's just 2-6 on the season with an ERA in the 4s. And as a team, the Yankees dropped 6 out of their last 9. And they're still going to work without Aaron Judge in the lineup. They've been having significant problems winning ball games without him. They just can't do it. Now, they're facing a Boston team who's 8-4 in their last dozen divisional home games. And speaking of home games, nobody can keep these guys off the base paths at Fenway. They're currently leading the majors in hits per game on their home field. Rafi Devers has the most RBI in the majors, top 10 in home runs. Alex Verdugo's the club leader in hits. And even if the Bo Sox struggle at the dish, Brian Bello's been more than serviceable on the mound. He's got an ERA in the 3s, and he averages just about a strikeout an inning. Now, Boston has gone 75% to the over in their divisional home games. The Yankees are 64% to the over against the AL East on the road. Give me Boston minus $1.25, over 9. Next matchup, Rays, Padres, 7:15 Eastern start time. Now, this one's pretty much a coin flip. Both teams are minus $1.10, totals 8.5. Blake Snell for San Diego, Zach Eflin for Tampa Bay. Now, Eflin's been real good. He's 8-2 on the year with an ERA of 3.28. Tough to believe this guy was a bullpen guy for the Phils last year in that World Series run. He's been excellent this season. He's averaging over a strikeout an inning, and he's got an even 1.00 whip. Now, he's also backed by the largest run-producing lineup of hitters in the AL East. They currently lead the majors, that's the Rays, in OPS average as a team. Highest OPS average out of any other club in baseball. Now, Yandy Diaz, he's in the top 10 in the bigs in both batting average and OPS himself. Randy Arozarena is the club leader in RBI. Now, they're taking on a Padres team who refuses to win for Blake Snell. The lefty comes into today's matchup with a 2-6 record and a 1.33 whip. Now, these Padres hitters are also dead last in the National League in hits per contest. They're currently batting under 230 as a team. Now, the Pods have also gone 67% to the under in their interleague ball games. Meanwhile, 3 out of Tampa's last 5 on the road stayed under the total themselves. Give me the Rays minus $1.10, under 8.5. Next contest, Giants, Dodgers, 9:10 p.m. East. The LA Dodgers are minus 145, totals 8.5. Bobby Miller for the Dodgers, Alex Wood for San Francisco. Now, Wood's got just 1 win on the season with an ERA close to 5. He also has a sloppy 1.60 whip. This Giants lineup, they fan more times a game at the plate than any other team in the majors. Trouble making contact. They're going to have to face Bobby Miller, who's been solid in a handful of starts. The righty's 3-0 with an ERA below 1. He also averages a strikeout an inning and has a .83 whip. And even if Miller gets shelled, these Dodger batters are hitting more home runs a game than any other lineup except for Atlanta. Mookie Betts and J.D. Martinez, they have over 30 home runs between the both of them. Freddie Freeman's third in the bigs in batting average. Now, unfortunately, Max Muncy is still out of the lineup for the Dodgers. Mitch Haniger is inactive for San Francisco. 7 out of the Giants' last 10 meetings with LA did get over the total. So if you're into historical trends, plenty of overs to go around. The Dodgers saw 3 out of their last 4 at home get over the total. Give me the LA Dodgers minus 145 over 8.5. And with that, folks, now it's time for our next and final matchup for the video. It's going to be in the Guardians D-backs game, 10:10 Eastern start time. Cleveland's minus $1.20, totals 8.5. Shane Bieber for the Guardians, Tommy Henry for Arizona. Henry's got just 1 loss in the season through 50 innings of work. The D-backs have also played really well against the American League. They're 10-5 in their last 15 interleague ball games. When it comes to offensive production, they do have the 4th highest team batting average in the majors. Corbin Carroll's the club leader in home runs and hits. Christian Walker has the most ribbies on the roster. And even though starting pitcher Shane Bieber has a winning record, strikeouts are down for the right-hander. He's got only 64 strikeouts in nearly 90 innings of work. These Guardian batters have also lacked significant power as well. They're currently dead last in home runs at the plate. Arizona saw 6 out of their last 7 interleague home games fall under. They're also 60% to the under in all of their contests against the American League. Give me Arizona plus $1 under 8.5. And with that, guys, now it's time for our quick pick recap. Minnesota Twins minus 1.5 over 9. Baltimore Orioles plus $1.10 over 8. Miami Marlins minus $1.55 over 9.5. I'm 5-0 in my last 5 daily best plays on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage. And the good news is I have another $1.99 daily best play going off here today for just $1.99. Texas Rangers minus $1.20 over 9.5. Philadelphia minus 175 under 9. Seattle Mariners minus 155 under 7.5. Houston Astros minus $1.25 under 8.5 runs. Atlanta Braves minus 1.5 over 10. LA Angels minus 170 over 10. Pittsburgh plus $1 under 8.5. St. Louis Cardinals plus 1.5 under 8.5 runs. Boston minus $1.25 over 9. Tampa Bay Rays minus $1.10 under 8.5. LA Dodgers minus 145 over 8.5 runs. With my next and final free pick for the video, give me Arizona, the Diamondbacks plus $1 under 8.5. And with that, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on my website. Now, if you do sign up for my $1.99 daily best play, just a friendly reminder, you're going to get access to that membership every single day for the next 30 days. Of course, if you are interested in accessing all of my personal plays, you may want to think about signing up for my full access, all-inclusive chairman package. Chairman members get access to every single personal play of mine, every single package, every single day for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, you also get access to my board member package, you do get access to my board member package, but you get access to my chairman podcast absolutely free. It's included with your purchase. I totally botched that promo. Anyway, let's get out of here. Happy Saturday. Best of luck to you. Patreon.com/BrockPage.